fashion designer here in Halifax, also local to the community, East Preston, born and raised, and I love my community. Who I am is just someone who's very creative and enjoys being creative, seeing something that's in my head that I have a vision of or a dream of, and then put it to paper and then find the fabric and bring it to life and then see other people enjoy that. What got me into fashion was creative writing. At a very young age, in grade 6 actually, probably younger than that, but grade 6 to what I can remember, a resource teacher named Mr. Phillips, who's now passed, God bless his soul, he was a delight and a very encouraging person to always push us to be creative and draw and be part of school activities and assemblies. And it was him, because I started writing in grade 3, creative writing, taking those programs, and I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the stories, and then I put illustrations to it. And then I started sketching faces, and I remember I was at home one day, and my mom was in the kitchen, and I seen Dark and Lovely perm box. So I started sketching that, and I showed her, and she made a big deal of it, and I loved that accolade. I loved that feeling that I did something that she was proud of. And so from then on, I started just sketching figures of women, which were like box women. They, I didn't have any skill, but I had the vision. And so I just kept sketching and sketching and sketching, and then things started taking form. And I'm thinking, hey, I could probably be good at that. So I went to Dalhousie University some years later, mastered that in terms of garment construction and understanding, the functionality of what it takes to make clothing and why they were created for, right? They all had a purpose. Now runway is totally different. So those things got me in just being creative, using my imagination to bring something to life, and that's what got me on the path to fashion. What inspired me, or even individuals that inspired me into fashion, I would have to say the tweak would have been my grandmother. We did a lot of imaginary playing. So it developed from that, dressing up in her lingerie or her bedclothes or whatever, and then we played that out. But in terms of the world of fashion, I think the designer who really inspires me with their creative expression is Ali Saab. I love the full skirts, I love the pockets, I love the fabrications that he used, that it's very delicate and very yet strong as a woman to be wearing those kind of clothing. They're very rich, so that he makes me want to watch what he's doing next. So I'm inspired by Ali Saab, and just I love to know where he gets his fabrics from. But those are the things that make me want to make something beautiful, right, and have a story behind it. How I would describe my philosophy behind my designs, it's very simple. It's the essence of beauty, and I've always visioned the black woman as beauty, and that doesn't take away from Caucasian or Italian or any. I think women in itself are beautiful. That's not what I'm saying here. What I'm saying is that there's an essence of beauty within us that's been so broken down or compacted that left to say that we were the ugly kind, and we're not. We have curves and we have skin tones, and we're women of color, and we're beautiful all to ourselves. And I think as a young woman, I've always seen the women in my church that way, beautiful with these big hats and elaborate garments that they would come. And I wanted to say, well, I wonder how I would dress her. And so that's how I think. So my philosophy is to always elevate the beauty. It doesn't have to be portrayed rich or anything. Just elevate that, celebrate that beauty. And I try to do that with my garments and choosing the fabric and how I present it on the runway, or how I made that model feel, right? Because it's always about the selling and the marketing, but what am I really selling? The essence of beauty. How I would like to try to fit myself or express myself in the landscape of Canadian history or Black history, because I am a Black woman, I cannot deny that. How I would like to exert that or express that is simply just being mindful and including that as best as I can. No, I don't have like the first choice of pickings and fabrics, or African garments or anything like that, but I can be creative with how I put it together, and that's through storytelling with the garments. Some people will get it and some people may not, but I have to be mindful to always impart that some way creatively. And so it is important to me because I come from a generation or a history of basket weavers who carry that through. So sometimes maybe it's, the textures that I use that reflect that, or the women in my family who are strong, the strength of a woman, how do I reflect that? So it's always being mindful how to be creative in my storytelling through the runway. So that's important to me, yes. Well, one of the highlights of my journey as a designer and fondest memories, or successes, however you want to call them, it makes me smile. It makes me smile within, and it makes me feel that I'm on the right path. I remember at our student fashion show phase, and I remember walking on this runway. I was very nervous. I was in the back by myself. The models had gone out. They put on the music for my cue to walk out there. And the moment I hit that runway, I felt within me, like, where I plant my foot, the soles of my feet, this is the land, the ground, the runway that, will be mine. The world is my oyster. What you're going to do with that. And I felt that sense of I accomplished something, not by myself, but I accomplished to get to this point today, that the room was full of people and they were cheering me on. That was a great moment for me. It made me emotional, but I had to put it together and put my face on, my game face on. But on the inside, I was doing cartwheels and flips and everything like that without having to run down that runway by myself. But it was like no other moment that you can share with anybody. It was for me, and I want that. It's like chasing that first high, if I can say that. But not that I know to be high, but it was that moment that I can do this and I enjoy this, and this is something that I can do and get to celebrate, and people will join alongside of you. You can actually see people were moved to tears and they were excited and they were jumping out of the seats, and that's the reaction I want. Not necessarily pat on the back or accolades, but that people are happy for me because of my success. And the same thing goes back to them, right? Because it's hard. It's hard to step out. It really is. Advice that I would give to anybody, young, old, or just with an idea to do something different and to push past your comfort zones or and being uncomfortable, is don't be afraid. Really, I know we talk ourselves into things as well as we talk ourselves out of things, or we have outside voices telling us, because sometimes their vision is limited. But if you have something on the inside of you that's always there, that's a reoccurring thing, don't be afraid of that. I would say to you, to try it, is to embrace it and put it out there. If it fails, then you can really say to yourself that you tried it, that you did it, you accomplished it outside of anything else. But if you never try, if you never share the idea, and you know what? Nobody can steal anything from you because it's original. If it's birthed out of you, it's original. They may try to steal the idea, but it's already in you. So try that. Try that thing, whatever that is. For me, it was fashion. For me, it was being creative. For me, it was just, tagging on with the right kind of people, affiliating myself with the right kind of people. And so try it. That's what I would say to you.